This episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast was brought to you by Aspect Skincare Australia. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Reid. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. Today, my guest is Kimberly Haworth from Lash Vision. Contrary to what our therapists and clients might think about the lash segment of the industry, perfecting the craft is not as easy as what it seems. Lashing requires patience, dedication, and a true passion for precision in order to create a great set of lashes. With that in mind, Kimberly began lashing in 2009, and she has since dedicated her career to protecting the client and therapist, spending too much of her time researching ways to elevate the lash industry. Kimberly has set her sights high and has achieved big goals across her career in becoming a multi-award-winning lash artist and trainer, a published artist, and a judge of international online and live competitions. In 2016, Kimberly turned her unwavering passion into an internationally recognized conference, Lash Vision, which soon after became named the second most inspirational conference globally in 2017. Kimberly has since hosted 6 Lash Vision Conferences in Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, reaching all over 1,000 attendees, spreading the message of a united, inspired, and educated industry to all corners of the globe. Regulation, competition, skills, and creativity, this conversation holds back no boundaries, and one that we know you will love listening to, lash tech or not. From Lash Vision, here is Kimberly and I for Beauty Industry. Kimberly, welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you and learn about your story today and hear everything about lashes. I am a lash novice, so I know absolutely zero, nothing at all. But what I want to know, first of all, is let's go before lashes. How did you actually get into the industry?
I think like most people, it was a complete accident, honestly. I had been doing a little bit of makeup off the side, done a very short course, and I was a bartender and I ran a front office of a hotel. And I was just absolutely exhausted, decided hospitality was not for me. I was working all night, then all day, and just threw my hands up and saw an ad in the paper for eyelash extensions, and they said essentially we'll teach you from scratch, and I was like, well, that can't be too hard. And that will be fun. Little did I know there's a lot more to it. So I essentially went in for a job thinking that I would have a better life balance, working in regular hours, and I kind of just fell in love with it. I was like, this is amazing. It's transformational of people's entire faces, of their confidence. What we can give to a client in a 2-hour session is unbelievable.
Yeah, very, very cool. And what was it about, lashing? I mean, because it is 2 hours. That's like quite taxing and exhausting work. For some people, I think it almost takes like quite a particular skill or personality to sit there for 2 hours and be so minute and so finite with, a tool. What was it for you that you went, okay, this is my forever thing now?
Believe it or not, I hated it in the first few weeks. But I am also one of those personalities that I don't like to let things beat me. So I just kept with it. And I say this to my students, if you can get through that first 3-month stint of being like, this is impossible, it all of a sudden becomes almost like meditating. That repetition and that constant, flow of what you're doing, you're dipping, you're isolating, you're applying, all of a sudden you're like, this is very calming. And I found a real calmness in it, which sounds super weird. And most people who have learnt lashes will be like, I don't know what this chick's talking about. It's quite hard. But for me, it was that every single day I walked in and every single client was a different challenge. And I was like, I will not let this beat me. I will master this client. And you can't get bored of it because every client presents a different challenge.
Yeah, of course. There's some tenacity and fire there, which I love.
Absolutely. It's super rewarding. Just even being able to gift someone a set of lashes is very rewarding.
Yeah, and you actually get that instant gratification right then and there. I think, with facials and with skin and things like that, you have to wait quite a few months for something to progress. Whereas lashes, it's like they come in with nothing, they leave with a fan. Gorgeous.
I think as well, because you said you have to be very, calm and into the nitty gritty. For me, I'm the kind of person who skips straight to the end of the renovation where I get to see the before and after. I have no desire to watch what goes on in the middle there. I just want to know what it looked like before and after. And I think with lashes, as opposed to like skin treatments, I got that instant gratification at the end of every appointment. I appreciate the long game of a lot of things, but I just really love lashes, even brows, how quickly you can sort of give people an instant result.
Yes, I love that. You're reminding me of The Block, that show, The Block. I never watch any of the episodes throughout the week. I just watch the Sunday. I just want to see the reveals. It gives you a good recap of all the mess and the renovations that happened during, but then you just see the before and afters. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always say to people, like, if you're that kind of person, you're going to love an instant gratification treatment that gets your clients results super quick.
So cool. So I'm wondering then, what's the biggest misconception about lash artists or of lash artists?
That is kind of a two-part thing, that you're going to make lots of money quick and then it will be easy. I think our industry has a lot to answer for with the marketing that we put out of come and learn lashes, you'll be a six-figure business super quick. And there's no real advertising, or no one really speaks about the fact that it will take you 3, 6, potentially 12 months to really get this technique, and that it's not going to be money in your pocket overnight. Absolutely, you can make a lot of money, but you can make a lot of money in any trade if you're willing to put the skill and time and effort into it.
Yes, so much. You must have read my mind today because I'm going to do a live this afternoon on exactly that, the marketing and the clout and the shininess around people going, I've created a six-figure business. You can create a six-figure business as well. And, at the end of the day, that sounds great, but is there six figures in their bank account? No. They may have created a six-figure business, but that's all turnover. That's all revenue. That's not actually profit. And then there's a lot of people out there who are saying, I can guarantee you will make six figures because this is how I did it. And I think that word guarantee is just so, how can you guarantee that somebody is going to make six figures? Like it's actually impossible, right? Oh yeah, you've just hit a nail on the head there, a sore spot for me because
I would probably do a whole podcast on this because I feel very, like, even in claims in lashes, people say damage-free lashes. Like, how do you ever guarantee damage-free lashes? Are you going to guarantee the client won't go home, sleep on their face and rub their face into a pillow? It's the same sort of concept. There's so many marketing tools that are used that just offer an idealism that just doesn't exist. I mean, I use this example all the time, and I'm just going to dog myself in publicly for everyone. For years, I was a six-figure business who didn't earn $1. $1. So when I see people be like, I'm a six-figure business, I'm like, what was your wage for the year? Tell me that. Because it took me a lot of no guidance. Like I said, I just went and learned in a salon and then was like, yay, I'm a business owner. So for me, I had to get that skill with an accountant and really get to know my profit and loss. And it took years, mind you. I could have fast tracked that, But it took me years to figure out how to earn a wage, let alone how to bring a staff member in and get them earning their wage. So I think the industry just has so much to answer for in that particular area. We have to stop making it seem like the beauty industry is fast cash, or we're never going to get the respect that we deserve.
Absolutely. Amen, sister. I'm so here for it. Part of your mission is to elevate the lash artistry, which certainly needs a lot of work. As you said, people can become a lash artist overnight. They can buy a kit off eBay. I even heard, it might have been on the podcast now, I can't remember, Baby Brain, but somebody was saying the other day that a girl purchased a lash kit off of her, and then they were just having this conversation and said, oh, what are you doing with the lash kit, and she said, I'm going to watch YouTube and teach myself YouTube, and then I'm going to open my own business. So I'm interested to know, what kind of changes are you hoping to see for the future of lashes?
Oh, the list is long. We are one of the younger parts of the industry, and I don't think people realize just how young we are. We're only about 20 years old, maybe slightly older. To the general public, doing lashes about 15. So I have been doing lashes for 12 years, and the only person I know that's been doing them longer has been doing them 20, but she's like, no one else did them. No one knew they existed. No one would pay for them. So when you think about it like that, we are almost the toddlers of the beauty industry throwing tantrums saying we don't want change. And I really struggle with that on a daily basis. And I do get a lot of criticism. As you know, I do a segment called Unpopular Opinions, and I literally call out things that are happening in the beauty industry that I'm like, this just shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't exist, and you should know this. So I think I just would like, I say regulation, but a massive level up of the standards. And I'm not just talking about independent operators. I'm an independent operator. I'm not an RTO. I'm also talking about the RTOs. I was in the process of, when it came into the government system, of training the teachers who were going to teach it. And they came and did a one-day class to then go on to teach in the RTOs, which blew my mind. I was like, I've been doing this for 12 years and it took me 6 years to feel confident to teach this. So my list is astronomical, and I've really thought about this, and I was like, I suppose the biggest thing that I want to see change, other than the general level up of skill, the fact that it shouldn't be an instant gratification career, is that we should start choosing not the aesthetic appeal of the application, but the sustainability of the application.
Yes.
Because big, long, thick lashes might look good for a year. I can tell you right now, in a year's time, when you take them off and you have no lashes left, who are you going to blame? I can tell you it'll be the beauty therapist. It'll be the person that did them. The client is not going to take any accountability for you doing what they wanted because it looked good at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see so often, these darling little girls with such big, thick lashes. They look like they're going to fall over. The lashes are so heavy. And I just think that is not sustainable. It's not, because as I said at the start, I don't know anything about lashes, but I'm just thinking about such a heavy weight that can't even be good for your eyelids, right?
No. And I think if anyone's listening and maybe you want to learn lashes, or maybe you have lashes, or maybe you look at lashes and wonder, a hot tip and a really easy way to know if it's sustainable is if the lash is drooping at all, if it closes in the eye, if there's any weight on the lash itself for it to manipulate where it naturally sits, it's too heavy and it's actually causing like follicular damage internally. And much like waxing, it's as little as 1 to 8 appointments before that permanent damage is done, and we see thinning of the lash line. And it's where we try to be really different. When I created my program, I wanted backing. I didn't want to just be like, hey, my name's Kim and I've been doing lashes for 12 years, trust me. Like, what? Why? So I went to specialists, and I've worked really closely with an ophthalmologist. His name's Dr. Paul McCartney. He's based in Tasmania. I've worked with a hair specialist, and I'm trying to get another one on board at the moment to work with long term. And I said, what is safe? And their response was, not much about lashes at the moment. And I was like, oh, okay. That's terrifying. So lashes aren't going anywhere. And that's essentially what I said to them. This is only going to boom. And we are one of the fastest growing sections of the beauty industry. How do we do this better? How do we make it better and more sustainable? And people are always arguing with me on this. And I'm like, I have backing. I bothered. Where is everyone else's backing other than my trainer told me and my trainer told her and then the trainer above her told that? Where is this evidence, scientific, or someone who has bothered to go to university and research this their entire career rather than, well, she said it was okay, so I think it is.
After the break, more inspiration from Kimberly. But first, a word from today's beauty partner. Aspect Skincare have recently launched their newest professional peel, Power Peel, an advanced 3-step peel system that delivers revolutionary results in as little as 1 week. Containing a powerful blend of actives including kojic acid, mandelic acid, glycolic acid, salicylic acid, retinol, and emblica, Power Peel works to deliver improved skin texture, clarity, and visibly brighter skin. Amplify client results and drive return visits, word of mouth, and new customers with Aspect Professional Power Peel. Learn more by getting in touch with the team at Aspect Skincare by visiting www.aspectskincare.com.au or reaching out to aspect@advskin.com.au. Individual results may vary. Thank you so much to the team at Aspect Skincare Australia for making this episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast possible. And now, back to the conversation. I'm wondering, does it ever exhaust you, pushing the same message and, talking about quality training and quality education when, as we mentioned, the likes of YouTube exists and people can, just get a quick and easy certificate overnight?
I love this question. Yes. All the time. I have to, I think I debrief with my husband over a glass of wine regularly, and I'm like, maybe I should just put long lashes on and stop fighting and stop getting on my soapbox and stop having these strong opinions, because people don't want to hear it. And that's terrifying that people just don't care. I am a victim of having my lashes done and then being destroyed. I was left with 3 lashes on one eye and 2 lashes on the other eye. And the trauma that comes with that. I couldn't even stick strip lashes on. I felt horrible. So I think with that little bit behind me, but then also being the kind of person who's like, but why? And I want to know that, but why? I just think if I can turn one person, just one person's opinion to say, yeah, but why? You're telling me to do this, but I'd love to know a little more. I've seen the snowball effect. It might take years. It might take a week for some people, but I've even started working with other trainers now who are like, where do you get this information? And how do we get this information? And I've literally said, you're going to have to be able to invest. You're going to have to, I pay people for their time. I expect nothing for free, nothing. I will literally be like, I'll book in an appointment and go, hi, I'm literally not here for anything other than to introduce myself and see if you would work with me. And people are always shocked that I would just spend that sort of money just to do that. But we deserve so much more. And as a young industry in the lash side, I think if someone just had have done this in other industries sooner, maybe there wouldn't be the price wars. Maybe we wouldn't have had all the, horror stories that exist. Maybe I can be one of those people that helps to almost reverse the effects before they even begin. So yes. But my passion for what I do outweighs the wanting to give up.
Absolutely. And I can feel your passion. And yeah, I just want to say, keep going. People thought I was crazy when I first started talking about community and collaboration and no competition. They were like, who is this little girl? And what is she doing talking about having tea and wine with other business owners? I just don't get it. But it takes time. And I feel like more people are willing to come on board than maybe we give them credit for. But there are always the naysayers who are kind of lingering on in the background, and they're just not our people.
I know. What is it? Your vibe attracts your tribe.
100%. From when you first started business to the kind of success that you've got now, and obviously you do training and events and things like that, what made you kind of branch out and want to train others? I mean, you could definitely, have a very wealthy and healthy business just doing your own thing, doing your own clients' lashes, but you have gone into that B2B kind of side with the eventing and things. So why?
If I'm honest, with the events side of things, it actually came before the training, like lash vision training. So I was a trainer for Alibana, which many people would know. Had a great 3 years there, and then I decided to go out on my own. But I started the events up whilst I was working for them, and it purely came from a place of I was getting into the forums, and it actually won me an award. Actually, I won Trainer of the Year. But I was getting into the forums and trying to break the stigma of the secrets. I do a lot of free information on my Instagram and in forums, and I was getting in and being like, "Hey, I'm going to throw this topic out there today, and here's my belief, and here's what you should be doing and what you're not doing, and you don't have to agree with me, but I just wanted to put this out there." And no one else was doing that. And people kind of were responding in a way of like, this is amazing. Like, I'd love to have a chat. I'd love to catch up. Would you be interested in, getting together? And I was like, I want to do a lash high tea. And I booked a venue for 25 people and I ended up with 153.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So it went from a high tea, a general little catch up to, all right, I'm now having it at the Grand Hyatt and I'm going to get speakers.
I love it.
That's where it grew from. Like, I just was like, why is everyone so secretive? Like, we could actually propel the industry so much faster if we weren't secretive. I give a lot away. People are like, you give so much away. And yet people still pay me, lots of money to come and do my training because no one can ever replicate me. No one can ever replicate me or my trainers that, I've hand trained. Giving you a little bit of my information is not going to hurt my business. I'm not opening my manuals on the lives and being like, let's go through everything. But I just think the events side of things came from wanting to give some basic knowledge, but also wanting to really break down those walls. Like, I have been trolled on social media pretty much from the day I got on there, believe it or not. I posted a photo of my work and got the most horrific replies. I wasn't the best lash artist back then and I hadn't upskilled. That's another topic. And I really just wanted to create a community around me and around other people where it was supportive and like respectfully disagreeing, which our industry really needs to work on. We can disagree. We can. I'm cool with it. But we can do it in a way that we're not offensive or disrespectful of each other.
Yes, respectfully disagreeing. I love that. I love that so much. Constructive criticism goes a huge way away. And I think these days people think that just because they're on a keyboard or, they're on their phones in their lounge room, that the weight of the words don't hurt as much. And I've read this thing on, it must have been Facebook or something like that. Whereas if you have a piece of paper and then you screw it up and then you try and make it flat again, it's never going to be the same. And I think that to be true of the weight of the words that we use on social media. And, we were chatting about this slightly offline, but that's exactly why we just don't approve any of that nastiness. I think life and business and the mental load and everything else that we go through is so much harder than we make it out to be, especially as women. Oh, I'm fine. How's it going? Yeah, okay, I'm fine. And it hurts, and there's just no need for that nastiness. So yeah, it breaks my heart to hear that people are trolling. And you know what? It's normally other people in the industry and they know how hard it is to run a business, to be in the industry, to be a female, to be a mum, all of the things that we are and all of the hats that we wear. It just, I don't know if I'm naive, but it just astounds me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I always say to people, if someone was, talking on the street, would you stop and confront them or would you just walk past? Because me, I would just walk past and be like, okay, you do you. Whereas social media has allowed us to stop and be like, I'm going to put my 50 cents in. And then if everyone puts their 50 cents in, all of a sudden we've got this overflow of a negative feed, and people are constantly talking about how they don't like social media, but they're addicted to it. And it is that negative feed. It's the same with the news. There's a reason the majority of the news is negative.
Absolutely.
If it was all positive, then you wouldn't stop.
For sure. You were mentioning the word community before, and you not only have one business, but you also have a second business as well, which kind of feeds into that community thread, Registered Lash Artist. Tell me about that, and what made you kind of go, okay, I'm doing enough over here, but I'm going to open another business. Crazy woman.
I'm crazy. No. Registered Lash Artist started from it's actually just a passion project, if I'm completely honest. It started as an association. I wanted the industry, or our section of our industry, to have a voice. Very interesting experience opening it. An association has no voice unless it has a mass following. And that was a really interesting thing to learn, that over the pandemic, we changed it from being an association to a private program. And essentially what happened was the government said to me, there will never be enough lash artists for us to listen.
Right.
And I was like, wow.
Let me find them and I'll come back.
I was like, one moment. But essentially we had over 250 members of the association. We had only been running for a year, which is quite a good year for an association. And then I wanted to have a voice during the pandemic for our little niche. And they said, you're just not big enough. You're just too small. We need the entire beauty industry to come forward. And that is part of the reason that I wanted to be part of the ABIC, so we could have a voice as well as the rest of the beauty industry. So very interesting thing to learn. If you're going to open an association, make sure it's not too niche because you need to have a lot of voices. After that happened and I deregistered as an association, we moved into a private training program. So what it is it's a program where we teach people what we call sustainable lashing. And it's this concept of, I always hear damage-free lashes. And I'm like, there is no such thing as damage-free lashes. I have lashes myself and I pick at them. How can I possibly say that they're damage-free? That's a really big guarantee that none of us can really stand by, I suppose. So what I wanted to do was create a level of sustainable lashing, which is what we teach at Lash Vision. And I wanted to be able to teach it to everyone at quite an affordable price. But more than that, I wanted people to have a place to come and ask their questions that wasn't a forum, that wasn't 50 different opinions, and in fact, instead came from a reputable source. And I am not saying I am that reputable source. We actually outsource all the answers. So we have a HR person that works with us. We're working on getting ophthalmologists. We're working on getting hair specialists. We're working on getting all of those little bits and bobs that make up all the questions people ask. And instead of being like, well, I have noticed when I'm doing this, we can say, hey, we have someone who can answer that for you. Or if we don't, we will outsource that for you. And we'll give you some reputable answers that are not just opinion based, they are fact based. So it was really about trying to propel the industry in application standard and in the knowledge standard at a really quick rate. We wanted to level up and we made it really affordable for that reason. So the membership programs are $10 a week. They start at $10 a week to come in. And then from there, different levels have different offerings. We are going to do webinars, all sorts of things it's all centered around education.
Yeah,
and really
very cool.
level up that education without necessarily doing another course, and having something that's sort of ongoing and that you can turn to. And if people are like, hey, help me, we'll be like, hey, of course, we've got your back. I find the forums beneficial in many ways. They are supportive and amazing. But when it comes to technicality, it's incredibly frustrating to see multiple pieces of advice that are conflicting or that are wrong, flat out wrong. But of course, we all have a voice on those platforms and we can all say what our opinions are. And I definitely not trying to discredit the benefit of having those platforms. I just think it can be positive or negative.
Yeah, absolutely. I even think that as well, you know, when we approve posts in our beauty industry community about, you know, I've got this client and she has these lashes, or I've got this client and I can't get rid of her pigment, or whatever it may be, and they put photos. And there's always hundreds of comments and suggestions. And as you said, there are often conflicting or wrong or just plain damn confusing. And I think, oh my goodness, if our industry is this confused, imagine how confused the client is, you know. But yeah, I love that you've created a space for people to go and to get that expert advice rather than the many different mouths of advice. And as you said there, with the ABIC, that's, you and I have such similar mindsets, because that's the exact same thing that I was thinking of. You know, we're mid-pandemic, it was March 2020. I'm going, oh my goodness, people are closing down left, right, and center. And, you know, just by way of nature, people were asking me a lot of the questions, you know, about commercial lease renting and standing down and things like that. And I'm going, oh my goodness, I'm just one person, and it's my opinion. And so, you know, I was speaking quite heavily to government, and with the help of the AHC and Sandy Chong, she was getting me in front of government. But again, you know, we had 3,000 people in our community, and they were like, this is the only people who we're speaking to. But again, 3,000 is nothing, you know, and you're not an association, you're just, you know, your community. So that's why we created ABIC. And exactly as that pathway you were saying before, I am not a lash artist. So, you know, I don't want people coming to me asking lash questions. And that's why we've got our advisory board, of which you're on, because when they ask these lash questions, we can scoot them over to you, you know, and you can have that expert opinion. And same with HR and legal and skin and massage and body, literally everything you can think of. So yeah, I really appreciate that. You know, it takes a lot of vulnerability to go, I don't know all of the answers, but I'm going to find the right person to get you that answer.
Yeah, and it's overwhelming. I think anytime you have some sort of platform within any industry, it wouldn't even matter if it wasn't beauty related. People come to you with questions that you just have to say, I don't know the answer to that. And for me to give you advice on that could lead you down a path you don't want to go down. I get so many people asking me about legal matters, and I'm like, that is definitely not my field. My husband always jokes that I should become the lash lawyer. He's like, you would just make a killing, because people come to me with so many legal questions that I'm like, I genuinely have to advise you to go somewhere else at this point. Like, I can hear your concerns, but I can't help you with them. Like, at the end of the day, I am just the person who has bothered to go and find other people and put it into one collective and be like, I don't know the answer to that. I can't guarantee it overnight, but I will source it for you.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And that feels like a very specific step that you've taken, you know, to expand your clientele and to expand your business by way of obviously doing lashes, but also training and education. Do you think there's other metrics in which you've kind of put into place to get that strategy and to get a bigger business? Or do you kind of just wing it and lead with the heart and hope for the best?
I've had a journey. I have had to learn a very hard lesson, and it is master one or master none. And what I have done is overcommitted for a very long time before I burnt out completely and learnt that you have to get one thing functioning to bring on the next thing. So I lead with the heart in my decisions of what I do, but I am now very strategic about when and how they are implemented, because I see so many entrepreneurs do this, and it just leads to burnout. So if anyone is listening and you're thinking about doing 50 different things, don't. Start with one, master it, and move on. So I took on too much and just fell in a heap and couldn't keep up with it, and had to quickly outsource a lot of things. but I write everything down that I want to do. So they're always a dream. They're always a goal. Sometimes I go back and I was like, what was I thinking? That was a terrible idea. I'm glad I didn't just jump on that straight away. But it's my fatal flaw that I'm like, I overcommit continuously. I'm like, yes, I can do that. And then I get to a point where I've learnt now, probably on the back of the pandemic and having to stop, that I was like, I don't want that life anymore. I'm not interested in being too busy. I currently do one classic class, one volume class a month, and everyone's like, will you do more? I'm like, no, it's actually it's exhausting, amazing, but exhausting training people. And any trainer would agree. You get home at the end of the night and you literally pass out. You're like, you give everything to your students. So I learned that training twice a month, then having a lash brand and having Ala, that was enough. Previously, I would train every single week, as many days as I could, and then I'd work until 2, 3 in the morning trying to fit everything in. So stepping back has allowed me to move forward, believe it or not.
Yes, I think that's definitely been a silver lining of the pandemic. It's that pause. You know, we've all had the moment to sit at home, and some of us still are currently sitting at home and reflecting and thinking and planning and getting our vision boards out. And it's shown us, okay, the work that I was doing is just far too much. And speaking about vision, I'm wondering then, you know, as you said before, you know, you've been trolled a little bit, and, you know, you do have students coming through your classes and things like that. How important is it for you to surround yourself with people who have that same vision as yourself and as the brand, in terms of, you know, education and, you know, regulation and things like that?
So important. Actually, this is an area that I'm incredibly lucky. My team that I have created, and I always hear about like onboarding and hiring and all those sorts of things, and I've just always hired from the heart. So I'm probably the worst. Don't interview me on that one. I'd be like, does it feel good? But I have created this exceptional team, and during the pandemic, I went through some quite severe trolling, and gift baskets showed up on my door, calls reminding me that I'm not the person that I'm being told that I am. You know, my husband is exceptional. He always reminds me who I am. And he's like, only you know who you are. Someone on the internet does not know that. Having that support around you is so important. And if you don't, you have to find it somewhere through like-minded people. It might take a few goes, but if I didn't have them, I would have walked already probably 10 times over. Every time I'm like throwing a tantrum, I'm like, this is too hard. They remind me how much I've already been through and how strong I am and how resilient I am. And having those people and having that team around me, that's part of why I keep going. And part of that is our following. Like, I am very honest. If anyone starts following us, I get on and tell everyone every aspect. I will get on and be like, we just received a $12,000 order and nothing was right. I've got to throw it in the bin or try and figure out how to get my money back. So I have created this business around transparency, and what it's created is a community, I suppose is the best word, of people who will inbox me and be like, oh no, that's so bad. We're here for you. What can we do? Like, people inbox me like, what can we do for you? And I'm like, nothing. I just needed to say it. I've had flowers show up at my salon for no reason. Hey, just wanted you to know that I appreciate your stories that you do. They've actually helped me more than my training. Like, just simple things like that is why I keep going. Those people who appreciate you and what you do, that's it. I wish I could say it was, you know, money or something like that, but it is truly the community of people who continuously message me and they're like, you know what, I appreciate you.
Yes, those people are so special. We need more of those people in our life and in our business and in our industry. I'm sure it's a huge lesson that you've learned, and I'm interested to know what other lessons have you learned in being a business owner and in being in the industry. And you have so much experience in lashing and in that space. I'm sure you've learned many over the years.
I have. Definitely be careful who you trust. And that sounds super negative, and I don't mean it negatively, but you do have to be very careful where you place trust and who you tell things to. I'm very open, as you probably can already tell. So there are certain things that I have had to start keeping my cards close to my chest because they have actually been copied or taken before I've even been able to launch them. And because I'm the kind of person, I'm a natural born educator. Like, I'm the kind of person who wants to gift you all the information in one phone call. So I've had to learn to be careful who I trust, because not everyone is like me. I also learnt that it takes multiple streams of income to get you where you want to be. I know that I said earlier, like, master one and move on, and I stand by that. But if you are just a lash artist with no retail range, that's fine, but you are not going to jump to the next step. If you're just a lash artist who isn't upselling within your treatments to something small, it could be a lip mask, it could be an under eye treatment, it could be something tiny, you're not going to take that next step. You have to have those multiple small streams of income on top of the large stream to grow. And maybe you don't want to grow, and that's cool. But if you're wanting to grow, you need to start thinking outside the box about how you can bring in more than one stream of income.
Yes, that is good advice, Kim. I love that so much. And, even though you are doing the lashes, you've got the whole entire face. You've got the neck, you've got the décolletage, you've got the back of the hands, you've got the whole body still lying on a bed for 2 hours. There is so much that can be done.
It's even more than that. I always talk about the scent in the room. People, when they walk in, well, how do they feel? Is there a certain lighting situation? Like, maybe it's beautiful and dim and you sell salt lamps. Maybe you sell plants that are sitting in your salon. They're like, oh my gosh, I love that plant. Oh, well, did you know you could buy it? I've just been taking care of it for 6 months for you. But honestly, like, just those little aesthetic things, and things like, there's these beautiful masks you can put on the neck. You're right. There's the lip masks or lip treatments or things like that take minimal training, minimal startup cost, that add like a lot to the service and also to your income stream. Like, if you're a lash artist and you do not sell cleanser to every single client, it's like a hairdresser not selling shampoo and conditioner. Like, it would be absolutely crazy.
Yes. So much advice here, Kim. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat with me today. I really appreciate your time. And I am sure every single person who is doing lashes or is intrigued about lashes or is even just in the industry learning about lashes at the moment is going to gobble up this episode. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. It's my first podcast. So
you've done exceptionally well.
Thank you.
So much of our industry, especially the salon world, can be very cliquey and competitive. And, it is true that it's easy to go and get yourself an overnight certificate and perform treatments without supervision or qualification. But you know what? The likes of people such as Kimberly make me hold on to a little bit of hope with regards to the future and make me really excited to one day hear all of the things that we're talking about come to life. You can go show Kimberly some love over on the gram if you enjoyed today's episode by searching for @LashVisionOfficial and @RegisteredLashArtist. You know where we live by now, but just in case you're new here, hello. We are at Beauté Industry, and I would love for you to come by and say hello to me at Tamara Reed Beauté. Until next time, thank you so much for your ears and your time. Stay connected.